Hi guys, and welcome to this week's stream. I have been away for the week, but I'm back now. I hope you guys are all good. We're going to have a good little chat about potential wildcard drafts, have a little bit of a deload, take some of the stress off, and just chat about what we can do for game week 4. Now, I'm not going to run through a review of my team today because, well, I'm going to do a video about that probably tomorrow, so you'll get that either tomorrow or on Wednesday, so there's not much point in me kind of rehashing content for you guys. But I'll get Lewis in just now and he can chat you through how he got on in game week 3, and then yeah, we'll have a little chat, get some questions in the chat for me, let me know how the sound is doing, and yeah, let's get Lewis in and actually see his face today. How exciting! So yeah, just for reference, the team on screen is the Dream Team stream. This isn't my actual team. So yeah, just in case you guys were wondering. So here he is. Here's Lewis. Hey Lewis, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, great. Great to be, great to have my face on your channel, I suppose. It's about time, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, why isn't it now that it's international break? Well, our group chat isn't. But
Yeah.
still it's quite active, isn't it?
It's pretty active, that one.
Yeah, great to be on.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm just going to get your team up on screen for everybody. And so everybody, this is Lewis's team for game week 3, and this is how he got on. So do you want to kind of chat us through how you're feeling about game week 3 points and how you're feeling about going into game week 4? Because I do happen to know you have hit that wildcard button.
Okay, so yeah, I feel like it is a little bit of an average week yet again. And I think obviously we've done 2 streams in the past, and I feel like they have been pretty average so far, or below the normal average. So I got 65 points this week, which again you'd think is quite good, but I think it's just a little below sort of what I wanted. I think a little bit of reason as to why I've activated the wildcard, but I think obviously going without Salah was very risky anyway, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So not
I
only
keep
am
forgetting that. Like every week when you remind me you don't have Salah, I'm just like, why? Why do you not have Salah?
Yeah. No, and I think that's I think the reason that I didn't have Salah was because he was playing Chelsea. Obviously, I highly regard our defence, and obviously if we didn't have that red card, I think we could have held Salah at bay, to be honest. But 20 points from Son, captain, so I'll take that. Whole defence, they returned Shaw, Trent, Dean. 2 clean sheets from Dean and Shaw, so that was a little bit of a surprise. I did say they weren't performing on last week's stream. You know, that sort of 5.5 bracket. Rafinha blank, Bruno blank, Benrahma blank. Obviously,
yes, all that pushing to get Benrahma in, Mr. Lewis, and he let me down.
Anyway, so yeah, sorry about that.
Moving on quickly. And hang on, aren't you pushing for me to wildcard this week too? Although annoyingly, you'll probably be right this week.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, I mean, Antonio 11, I think he was quite a big captain choice, wasn't he? I think obviously he was actually someone I was really considering. But yeah, chose for Son, and there we go. Tony got a return, surprise. Ings return. So yeah, that was my week, back up to 800k, but definitely wildcarding.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, it's the Tony hurt a little bit because I did switch Tony out for 4.5 in order to squeeze in Benrahma in midfield. So yeah, that was a bit of an ouch, but it was always going to happen, wasn't it? Let's be honest. I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, if you if you do it, then you know it's always going to bite you in the bum. So you've activated your wild card off of the back of this. Just for point of reference, why do you think your main reason for wildcarding was? Is it because you feel like you started badly? Are you trying to get ahead of the curve? Is it a bit of both?
it's a mixture of both. I think obviously I've discussed how average I've felt my game weeks have gone. And I think, again, starting without Tsimikas didn't go well. Starting without Ben Rama didn't go well. I think there was a lot of reasons to not be happy with my team in general. Although it looked good, it just wasn't particularly performing to how I wanted it to. Again, price rises were a big factor as well, because obviously I draft a lot during the week and came up with a wildcard squad that I was really happy with. However, I knew that I think in a few weeks' time, or a couple of game weeks' time, we would be looking at price rises for players like Ronaldo, Lukaku, and probably the Wolves defence. So yeah, I think there was a lot of factors into why I did wildcard. The Wolves defence is something that I like the look of. Hitting Chelsea early is something that I wanted to do. In terms of price rises as well, because I expect the Chelsea backline to go up quite fast as well. I think, I just feel, because I was dead set on game week 13 originally for wildcard. So I mean, yeah, it's one of those. You've got to be adaptable in the game, haven't you? And I think it was tough. It was tough, and there was a lot of people saying, Twitter's like, they're so anti-wildcard at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
And rightly so. It all depends. It all depends on your individual team, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the wildcard is very specific to you. Just to say, Sugam, we will get around to your question, buddy. You don't need to spam. Honestly, I will get around to it. We'll look back and the mods will highlight it if I miss it. So don't worry, we will get around to you. If you keep on, then unfortunately I have to time you out, which I really don't want to do. So don't worry, we will get there. Sun or Greenwood, I've got it on the list. We will get around to it. Absolutely. So yeah, we have Lee saying that he wouldn't have wildcarded this particular team, Lewis. He says,
can I just interject, because I did see those comments and I actually looked at the team and thought, this is quite a good team. So it sounds stupid that I've wildcarded, and I've had that all week. But yeah, it was just about getting ahead of the curve. The team that I am wildcarding into, I expect to be the template in 2 to 3 weeks. I want to beat the template. I didn't have a great start. I think getting away with this getting this wildcard activated now doesn't feel like a knee jerk. It just feels like the right time.
Yeah.
And there's so much unpredictability during the international break as well, with injuries and stuff. I just think if you go into wildcard, why not do it in an international break and when 2 of the best players in the world join the game?
Absolutely. So just to welcome a few people, welcome Nuclear, Matthew, hey Nima, welcome. Yes, so what I'll do is I'll get my team up quickly on the screen, because I know I'm going to do a video that'll go into this in way more detail, but what I'll do is I'll kind of somewhat recreate Lewis's wildcard team for you guys so you can see it. And the reason I'm going to do this is because it's definitely one of the wildcards that I have considered. So I'm potentially going to take a hit to get in Ronaldo. That's likely where my head is at the moment.
Ooh.
Obviously, if Rafinha is out game week 4, definitely, which it kind of looks like he is, if he's potentially out game week 5 as well, then I may lean back towards doing the wild card. However, I have been really trying not to use my wild card, only simply because a lot of the wild cards I've seen that aren't like Lewis's are very much like my team that you see here, barring getting Ronaldo or Lukaku in for Ings. So they're not necessarily 100 miles off what I have here, potentially just adding, say, a Chelsea defender. So with that in mind, I've been strongly kind of advocating, unless you're going big up top with Ron and Rom, the double R's, then I'm not necessarily seeing what massive impact using the wild card is right now. So with that, Lewis, you have kept Sanchez, or did you decide to shift to another 4.5 midfielder? Defender, sorry.
No, so
Goalkeeper.
in my
I'll get there in the end.
right, okay, yeah. So Sanchez stays.
Yep.
I've not really seen enough from alternative keepers to make me convince me not to keep Sanchez. I like Brighton. I like the defence still. Okay, he's not been great so far, but has Bachmann not? We've just not seen enough for me to change the keeper. And he's a great price. He's at a great price, and pretty convinced that Brighton will get back to their solid defence.
Yeah. Did you keep Trent?
Oh well.
Or are you still deciding on this one?
No, I think people go through stages, don't they?
Yeah.
Phases where you consider ditching Trent, because obviously I think I tweeted out the other day that the same price as Livramento and Trent, you could actually buy Diaz and Reece James, which actually blowed my mind, to be honest. But
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit
undecided.
Yeah, because I know, because as soon as you mention get rid of Trent, Twitter doesn't like it. So,
no, it does not. It does not. But just like for argument's sake, is Trent still in at the moment? So just give me your kind of current lineup. So Trent's still in at the moment. So who do you have alongside him? Have you kept Shaw, for instance?
No, I've ditched Shaw.
You've ditched Shaw. Who did you go for Shaw?
So my back line is pretty cheap. Okay, so I've gone for Ben White at the back.
Okay. Oh gosh, Arsenal defence. What are you doing to
I'll get onto that.
I mean, I know they have great fixtures, but wow.
Yeah.
I can't seem to get on it myself, peeps. I don't know why. I don't know whether it's the Arsenal fan in me and the pessimism.
And I just I need to admit to a huge mistake with Ben White. So, okay.
Or what have you gone and done? Did you get him out and then he dropped, or you didn't get him out and he dropped?
Okay, so I had Ayling in, but decided to change my wild card, confirmed it. So I sold Gray.
Yeah.
And that's where I lost the 0.1 million. Gray's back. So I sold him for so stupid.
It's such a rookie mistake.
So embarrassing. But yeah.
It's done. It's done. What's done is done. You can't do anything about it. Don't panic. Don't.
So I'm stuck with White. There is options on the bench, not very good ones.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, White's there, and also Marcel. So it's a back three. Marcel from
Wolves. Right. Let me chuck him in. Cool. Why Marcel over, say, one of the other Wolves defenders? Any particular reason?
Price.
For the peeps?
Yeah, so
just
basically price. So, well, not just price, I can easily say price, but it had a massive factor. It's 4.5 million. I think he's been quite effective with crosses, actually. I think he had great stats at the back end last week as well, combined from the previous 3 game weeks. If I'm not mistaken, he was first team last season until the injury, and now that he's fully fit, Aït-Nouri has sort of took a little bit of a step back.
Mm-hmm.
It is a gamble. It's a little bit of a gamble, but I know from what I've seen that Marcel is a good defender.
Yeah,
he's so that convinces me that he will stay, and he looks great going forward. If he was poor going forward, I would be a little bit worried. Okay, Aït-Nouri might come in, but yeah. So quite happy with Marcel.
So we've got Trent, we've got Marcel, we've got White. Who we got next to them?
So yeah, just the 3 at the back. So the midfield, Rafinha.
Okay. I'll just chuck in a couple of 4.1s then, just because otherwise it won't let me kind of move everybody around so they can actually see who you've.
Oh, don't you worry about that. I've got 4.1s to talk about.
You got 4.1s to talk about. Cool. Who are we chucking in then? Livramento, I'm assuming.
Okay, so we've got Livramento on the bench for sub.
Yeah.
Currently.
Yeah.
We've got Williams.
And Williams.
I feel like this is not sounding great so far.
Well, we'll get it all in, and then we'll let the public judge.
Yeah. So Williams is second sub, Gilmore third sub.
Okay. Gilmore is your third sub. Okay, so midfielders. Get on to Norwich. So do you feel kind of like comfortable, do you think, with this particular team at the moment, or are you wobbling at all?
There's a couple of changes I've been deliberating. So should I give you the midfield? Should I give you the team first?
Give me the mid.
Okay. So Rafinha's in at the moment.
Yeah, you're stuck with Raf. Yeah.
I'm sort of fiddling around with Raf, whether to move him to Traore or Sarr.
Yeah.
2 options. I think a lot depends on the international, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Salah, obviously back in. I like how you put Salah there because I'm not stupid enough to make the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's back in. Demore Gray is my enabler.
Gray. Yep.
Yep, Demore Gray's in there. Still look a bit worried about my team then. Hey.
Who's your fifth? Who's your fifth midfielder?
It's Ben Rama, so he's still in.
He's stuck with Benny. Cool. And then so this is where we go to kind of the big guns, isn't it? So have you kept Antonio?
Yeah. You've got
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's just too good at the price he is at the moment. We can't really be shipping him out for any love nor money. So this is where you've gone a little bit different, and this is where I would be considering going a little bit different, is that you've gone Lukaku in, and you have also gone for Ronaldo. So you've gone the kind of all-out attack, as we would have called it back in the day. Any old school FPLers here watching the stream will know that one. So now I can actually switch White in and Marcel in, and I'm assuming you'll play Lukaku over Gilmore, and so that would be your all-out attack there. I'm assuming that's kind of about right, obviously barring a different captain. That's kind of the wildcard team for now. And I love this, and it's tempted me a lot, this particular lineup. I wouldn't necessarily go for White, and
Price.
Price obviously, but I've been very tempted by this exact lineup, as people will see in my video when it comes out later in the week. And I'm still not completely ruling it out, I have to admit, because I do think you are very correct in saying there is potential for people wanting this exact same setup in a couple of weeks' time. And you've got on it now early, meaning, you're going to get any price rises and everything out of it. So I am with you in the thought process that I really like this. If you think of it like you're taking Bruno out, you're kind of getting 2 premium attackers maybe for Bruno in that way. Yeah. But obviously there are some weaknesses too. As you say, the rest of your defence with keeping Trent does look very slim. When you say that you can get Diaz and was it James? Yeah. For the same price, that feels like it's more balanced to me, although losing Trent does scare the absolute,
Oh yeah.
Let's not say any swear words on stream, but it does scare me a lot to lose Trent.
I think a lot of I just think a lot of I've had this sort of reaction a lot, and in terms of the squad isn't balanced.
Yeah.
I think what I can say I have got is 5 players who will probably form every single week.
Yeah.
Will have the potential to hit double digits every single week.
Yeah.
And I haven't got to. I mean, the other players aren't so bad either, are they? I mean, you look at it, as well as those 4 premiums, I've managed to squeeze in Antonio. Who, I mean, 40 points already is ridiculous, isn't it? 3 weeks, and then you've got Ben Rama and Rafinha. So although okay, there's a couple of dodgy ones in there, you know, Ben White, Marçal, Livermore and Williams on the bench. I will sort of aim to rotate them around the fixtures. So it's not all bad. And I know the sort of the squad depth isn't great. I just feel like there's six players, 7 players in that squad that I can rely on current form every single week to perform.
Absolutely.
And just to mention, actually play. I'm not actually. I'm not worried about 90% of that team playing. You know, which is a concern in the mid-price options, or will be soon, in my opinion.
Yeah, couple of things I'll kind of just throw out there to play devil's advocate. And yes, Matthew, the pants off of us. Losing Trent scares the pants off of us. That's probably the best way to put it. So a little bit of worry for me. Also, I did kind of use this as a potential plus with this particular wildcard, is that we don't necessarily know what's going to happen with West Ham once Europe kicks in. So we don't really know whether there's going to be much rotation for Benrahma or much rotation for Antonio, or, you know, exactly what's going to happen there. So you could say you could potentially be a player down when that happens. However, I think that might just even present you with an opportunity maybe to move Antonio to a 4.5 and then put more money either back in midfield or, you know, or into defence.
Yeah.
Or, you know, even if Antonio keeps smashing it and Benrahma may become the fall guy in that rotation, then obviously that's where it gets a little bit trickier, because I'm not sure there'll be many other options in that kind of 6 million park come, you know. That's the one, like the two things that slightly worry me with Gray and Benrahma is I'm not sure how many places you'll be able to go with those should they fall off of the cliff or start getting rotated. Rafinha I love, but obviously, as we know, short term he could potentially be a bit of an issue. But otherwise, yeah, it's just the Chelsea defence, City defence thing that kind of would be like worrying me. But you know a route to that at the moment, as long as the prices don't become an issue for you. You have a route to that. You know, save up a couple of transfers and you can do that in one move. So that's not particularly terrible, I guess. You just have to weigh up then whether losing Trent would be worth that particular move. It's always about getting like 2 players for the price of 1 almost in that particular scenario. If it works out best, then, you know, then brilliant. But no, I love it. And if I was hitting the wild card now, it's definitely the type of team that I would be thinking of going for myself. I think the only thing that changes things in my particular mind with my team setup is that the more balanced squad and going for the one premium forward is very similar wildcard wise to what I already own, which is why I'm kind of leaning more on just taking that hit to get Ronaldo in and then you know, addressing it. Hey Ray, hope you're good, buddy. And Varun, welcome, buddy. So just to kind of touch back on a question I asked you earlier, do you have any concerns? Because I know there's been a little bit of chatter this week, the last few days in particular, about Lukaku potentially picking up an injury. Does that concern you? Would you, if you knew he was out like next game week, would you put somebody in there as a placeholder, or would you potentially, you know, take the risk on playing somebody like Livramento or Gilmore or something for the week?
No, so I would probably, because I don't see many transfers needed in terms of booked in that squad, because obviously there's not much rotation risk in there, is there really? So I think it's a tough one, because I've read a lot about Lukaku. Been playing through the minor injury for a few months. He wants to get it checked out, obviously, probably before the season gets serious. Which I'm guessing is why he's sort of addressing it now, early doors. There's a lot of people saying not very concerning. However, it could be a completely different story after scan results. I think people are sort of expecting it to be nothing because Lukaku's been playing with it, but I imagine he's quite a strong fella, to be honest. And I think he could play through something that hurts that would probably need looking at. But we'll see. I think he's going to stay in now until I see anything to put me off.
Concrete. Yeah.
He's banned from the sort of next game because of the yellow card, so he's be back at Chelsea soon. So yeah, I'm quite happy to leave him in there for now.
Yeah. Cool. Okay then, guys, we'll get on to some of your questions if you want to get some into the chat. So I'll just pop up to Sugan's question. So Son or Greenwood? So you have Son in your current team, Lewis, or what was your current team. Any thoughts on keeping Sonny on the wild card or moving to Greenwood on the wild card?
Difficult one, isn't it? Because Spurs haven't looked great. In fact, I think Watford could have nicked an equaliser. I don't think they were very good going forward, Spurs, and I think against Watford you should be looking pretty convincing. I know we could say that if Chelsea, City, or someone else played Watford, we'd be looking at 2 to 3 goals. So I think I'd be a little bit concerned. Having Son. Now, a lot of people would disagree with that, but something doesn't seem right in the Spurs attack. It's a difficult one because we know what Son's capable of.
Yeah.
It's also difficult because we don't know what's going to happen with Greenwood.
No.
So for me, it's a really tough one actually. But I think I'd probably stick with Greenwood. Go for Greenwood because it gives you sort of access easy. I know we could sort of swap out Son as well, but it gives you a bit more money to play around with. And I think Greenwood's in such great form where not too sure that Ronaldo's going to affect his game time as much as people think.
Oh, I hope so. I really hope so, because I do own Greenwood. So I am hoping that he gets. And not only, I am an Arsenal fan, so like the whole Man United thing, like probably one of the teams that I'm not mad keen on. Saying that, I am a massive fan of Greenwood. I just think he is very, very good talent, and it would be such a shame to see him kind of getting benched again week in, week out. After developing so far, it would just be a travesty. I wouldn't see why they'd keep him at the club, like loan him out or something in January if that becomes the case, because I just don't want to see that kid sat on the bench week in, week out at all. It's way too good for it. I think I'd probably go Greenwood as well. I love Son. Sonny is one of my favourite players to watch. He is a lot of fun. I do think he potentially got a little bit lucky with that goal last week, because it just, either the keeper should have been saving that. It should not have just floated in like that from a free kick. No way.
I was lucky to get a cup in return, to be honest. Yeah.
So I think until we can see the whole kind of Kane-Son link-up thing again, I'm not mad keen to just rush in at that price point. It's the price point, I think, for me. I need to see him kind of getting Salah-like returns for me to feel okay kind of spending that kind of money out, when at the moment somebody like Greenwood is matching him for a lot less. Yes, there's risks with Greenwood, but I feel like there's a lot of places you can go from Greenwood if it doesn't work out. So that's potentially what I would say. And as Lewis said, I'm hoping, as he is, that he's not going to get dropped, and he will continue to keep his place in that Man United team, and so therefore hopefully be a really good asset to own. But with the likes of Rafinha, Benrahma, Sarr, Torres, Jota, there's so many places you can go to from Greenwood should he start getting put on the bench, So, I think Greenwood is probably where I would go for now. But I wouldn't rule out knowing a way to Sonny if I needed to get back there. So that's potentially something you could kind of have written down for yourself in a couple of moves, so that if you ever want to go back there, you can.
Sorry, I just wanted to touch on the fixtures actually for Spurs. They're quite so they haven't got any great runs of 3 to 4 matches. Whereas if you look at United and Chelsea, they've got longer sort of runs of better fixtures. So I just think in terms of Spurs, this goes for Harry Kane as well. There's not sort of a long period of great fixtures for Spurs that you can sort of comfortable with leaving him in that, if that makes sense. So yeah, in terms of Spurs, that would be another reason I don't sort of jump on Kane or Son.
Okay, cool. So Window Beer Review Thomas says yes or no on Ronaldo. So what's your thoughts on Ronaldo there, Lewis?
Well, I think he's got to come in, hasn't he? You know, I think if you're going into the Newcastle game without Ronaldo, I think you're quite worried. We know that he's going to be highly captained. His ownership isn't massive yet, although it's grown pretty fast since he joined the game. I think he's going to rise straight away. I think that's based on the fact I think he's going to score straight away. But yeah, he for me he feels like a Salah. It's quite silly saying that because Salah's been in the league for years, but I just think he's going to be pretty relentless, and he will take penalties off Bruno as well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think over 1 million people have transferred him in already. So that goes to show, like, percentage owned is going to be pretty high. And that's the bit that kind of, I suppose, swings it for me in terms of me wanting to get him in, is that I genuinely feel like if he plays at Newcastle, which that's what I'm trying to hold off on, is to get that definite news. I mean, I can't see any reason why he wouldn't at the moment. But you know what? We've had some shockers in the last, in previous international breaks where we find out these things last minute. So, if Ollie comes out and he says, I will ease him in, or, something like that, it may kind of make me think twice about taking, because it would be a -8 for me. It may make me think twice about taking the -8 or pushing a wild card for him. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But at the moment, like him against Newcastle, first game back for Manchester United, it is just written, isn't it? It's written in the stars that he's just going to go big guns. And I don't love losing Bruno for him. I will say that. At the same time, we can't have everybody. And I think at the moment, I would like to keep Salah based on his run of fixtures. So, and whilst I have Greenwood, I'm somewhat happy, and Shaw, I'm somewhat happier to lose Bruno in order to fund Ronaldo in the hope that he takes, I guess, the majority of the points there. But I'm not against anyone who wants to keep Bruno, because there's still every potential that Bruno can be assisting every one of those Ronaldo goals, so
exactly, yeah.
So there's no right or wrong in this situation, but genuinely, if we just look at the facts, regardless of whether he gets reset or not, like, he's already going to be very highly owned at the point we hit game week 4. Should he then score anything, if it doesn't get reset, then there's every potential he could go up in price pretty quickly anyway. And then even if it does get reset, I could still see him going up in price. If you then factor in a potential Bruno blank off at the top of that, or even, dare I say it, a Salah blank, I could see people being very reactive to that and taking those kind of expensive players out straight away. Even potentially Ronaldo or Kane having, Lukaku or Kane having a potentially bad game. I could just see people, jumping straight on that Ronaldo bandwagon. So for those reasons, unless I hear anything that kind of spooks me for going straight for him, that's why I'm getting on him now. And it's not, only just because his ownership scares me and things like that. I do think he is, like Lewis said, going to be one of the players at the end of the season that's just going to be so consistent over the weeks with points that, you know, it'll just come a point where you'll not, you know, almost like Salah and Bruno in the past, where you'll just not be able to have him in your team, if you see what I mean. So it's just kind of trying to get ahead of that curve. It's always easier to downgrade than it is to upgrade. And that's always how I look at it in these situations. So anything to add to that, Lewis?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit to Bruno. Obviously, there's a chance, a big chance actually, that he loses the penalties. I'm not saying that Bruno is going to be a bad option at all. I just think what's going to be the case with Bruno, and this is all guesswork, is that he obviously like lose the free kicks and the penalties. I just feel he would start to sort of become the assister or assist. I mean, he could be pretty sort of constant with the assist. And again, this is all guesswork, but I mean, that's how I see him, an assist maybe every so often, or and it's a tough one because I'm still going to fear Bruno going into Newcastle.
Oh yeah, I mean,
100%.
You can't just turn that off. I mean, it's Bruno Fernandes. Do you know what I mean? You just can't turn that off. It's like you said. But your hope is then that, as you say, for the vast majority, if you just watched the Portugal game there, say the other week, you can tell that Bruno's role is almost less about trying to get something for himself and more about making sure Ronaldo gets that pass, making sure Ronaldo is in, you know, and he absolutely idolizes Ronaldo. It is like clear to see on any of his social media and stuff like that. So I think quite a lot of it is going to be, you know, trying to make sure Ronaldo has the best opportunities possible, which, you know, could mean that we will be sat here or wanting to be sat here in a couple of weeks' time with both of them. But for now, it just feels right that we go with one and then assess it as time goes on. Really. Okay, so just a quick shout out. Thank you everybody who's viewing. If you're enjoying the stream and you don't already, please like and smash that subscribe button. Something cool should happen on screen if you do that. But yeah, thanks for enjoying the stream and welcome to the Nym fam, pretty much. So, and if you want to check out Lewis, I will make sure I get his Twitter handle in the description below for you guys. You can go and head on over there and give him a follow on Twitter. Okay, so MX Crus says Sarr or Traore on a wild card. Ooh, ooh. Now, Traore, man, I mean, does he ever finish? Like, does he ever finish his dinner? Because, you know, he starts out with the best takeaway ever, but I'm not sure he ever finishes what's in the box, if you see what I'm saying.
It's quite hard with Traore because the stats are backing him. You know, the stats are suggesting that he's going to haul and he's going to do well, and Wolves look better. You know, this isn't the Wolves of last year. This is a different Wolves. They look sharper, faster, although they have lost the last 3 games. It's easy to say that, but in terms of eye tests, what the stats don't sort of show is sort of how good they actually look in comparison to last season. Yeah, you can use stats to sort of compare that and sort of show that, but it's like watching a completely different Wolves. That's what it feels like, and Traore certainly is in my mind in terms of if Rafinha doesn't make it, I'm thinking Traore or Sarr. So that's something that I'm considering myself. I would sort of edge towards maybe Traore because of the longer term fixtures. That's what I want to do. I wanted to sort of limit those transfers and not have to book any in. So Sarr is a good option, and he did look good against Spurs. But I think Wolves completely battered United. I'm not too sure if you watched that game, Lynn, but
yeah, I did.
I mean, they should have won that. United were although they defended pretty well, but I do think Wolves should have won that. They should have scored 100%.
Yeah. no, I agree. I'm just getting the heat map stats up on screen so people can get a kind of direct comparison there.
I think there's benefits to both. I think we know that Sarr takes penalties. I'm just not convinced of Watford. I'm more convinced of the overall attack of Wolves. Obviously, they have Jimenez. So, I mean, as soon as he's up to speed, you're looking at great forward with Traore behind him. And as soon as Jimenez clicks, I expect Traore to be up some assists as well.
Yeah, I mean, 182 touches. Wow, that's crazy. 87 passes, 12 shots. And yeah, I think Traore pretty much wins out on the stats all but the fact that Ismail Sarr has had a goal and obviously the 4 shots on target. Otherwise, yeah, I think Traore is pretty much winning the stats there. So probably Traore, although
it is a really tough one.
That one is a really tough one, I think. Yeah,
I would probably lean towards Traore.
Yeah,
because Jimenez is in front of him, and I just think
I like the fixtures as well for Wolves. So hopefully there's like more opportunity potentially for him to grab a little something. But I don't hate either. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm going to say I don't think you'd be wrong with like either of them. So like it could just be a bit of a kind of gut pick. Matthew, can't believe who I coded so early. Wildcarded so early. I'm looking to work hard in game 7th. He's 270th in the world. Wow, Matthew. Well done, buddy.
I'm not too sure he needs advice off us too.
No. Just here for the show. John, welcome, John. I have 2 or 3 outfield players I want to get rid of. Is now a good time to switch Martinez for a cheaper keeper or focus on other parts of my team? I have Sanchez of Brighton already. I think if you've already got Sanchez, very much depends on what your need is on the other players, doesn't it, really, for the team? So I think, I think that's going to depend very much, John, on what the rest of your team is doing. I mean, if you can afford the transfer now to get rid of Martinez, then I think now would be the optimal time because he is, losing money like you wouldn't believe. And I think you're probably not going to want to go back to him anytime soon. So I think now could be a time to free up a bit of cash or look to maybe jumping on one of the next 4.5 keepers that you think might get a good run of games so that, when we're all panicking about losing Sanchez, you're already ahead of the game potentially. But yeah, that very much depends on whether you're at a push for somebody like Ronaldo or if Rafinha's out, you need to get rid of him or something like that. So yeah, that's what I'd say on that. Lewis, any thoughts?
No, agreed. Yeah, I think obviously it's not. It doesn't sound great, does it? Doing a goalkeeper transfer now in the midst of everyone wanting these in the middle of everyone wanting these premium keepers. But if that's to take money out of that position, put it towards the attack, then why not?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, where are we? Thoughts on getting Mane from Dr. Mukat? Love that name. Mane, is he being overlooked, do we think there, Lewis?
I don't think so. I think his sort of ownership sort of reflects maybe his performances and stuff. I don't think he's been that great. I think he's a great differential, actually. I think he's a differential, that's for sure. I just, again, going back to the fact that we've now got Lukaku, Ronaldo, Salah, Trent, England, Son, I would probably take over Mane. I just feel that Salah and Trent is enough in that Liverpool team. Because we need to look at it realistically. Teams like Chelsea and United are going to be scoring 2 to 3 maybe even 4 some games against the poorer teams. So yeah, I would look to put my money elsewhere.
Yeah, I think I agree as well on that one. There's just too many other good scoring premiums at the moment that money needs to go into. So for the moment, I would say avoid. And yeah, maybe one for the future to look at. Again, you know, is Sadio Mane. He's always brilliant. Like, yeah, but definitely maybe not just yet. Definitely maybe not just yet. Yeah, not yet. Okay, Nuclear says, can the combo of Alonso and Mount cover Lukaku, since opposition backline get busy defending Lukaku, that leaves space and chances for the other attackers? So you're the Chelsea man there, Lewis. I like a bit of Mount. What's your thoughts?
It's a tough one, because my priority with Chelsea personally would be Lukaku first, Chelsea defence second, and then look at an attacking a midfield option last. Alonso won't be in the lineup for long. Chilwell's going through intensive training at the moment, intensive training sessions and stuff, and I've seen pictures. He's starting to look really sharp now. I just think if you've got Alonso, expect him to come off soon.
Yeah.
So I have to say no, because I don't think Alonso's going to last that one.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I do like Mount as a potential way into your attack if you can't afford Lukaku, though. That's the only thing I will say, is that if there's no way you can get to Lukaku, then I don't mind Mount as a shout. You know, I do think he's, you know, he has the potential to kind of. I would like to see more finishing from him, almost like a Greenwood style. But
this is what I wanted to touch upon with Mount. I think he's going to have a great season. He's going to do great things in terms of assists, but in terms of goals, we've got a target man. And he's there to finish. And although he's on like set pieces and stuff, and I've noticed in the past games, his priority seems to be to get the ball to Lukaku and not shoot. Whereas, I'm not too sure if you're aware, we used to see Mount take a lot of shots outside the box.
Yeah,
and he's still taking the odd shot now and again, but now he knows that we have great finisher to score those goals. I'm less inclined to shoot. He's an interesting option, and I can see why a lot of people are going for Mount. And I did say he'd be a good option at the start of the season. I would still be waiting a little bit longer to see more of a goal threat.
Yeah,
for me. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's fair. Okay, I do have 2 transfers and 0.5 million planning for Ronaldo and Torres for Bruno and Ings, but I'm worried about Wilson. So that's from SV. So very similar boat to myself, SV, I guess. I'm worried about Rafinha, you're worried about Wilson. It's probably a similar thing, but I don't hate the transfer, and I think it's a good one. Probably that's going to be a pressers type thing to wait and see what the situation is with Wilson before kind of delving into it. And can you cover Wilson? So for me, I don't love playing Livramento, but I don't hate it either, because it's still potentially a point or 2 in the bank, and it means hopefully taking less of a hit, and it means I get to keep Rafinha then for his great run of fixtures when he's back, of which he does have a great run of fixtures. So that's kind of why I'm thinking. So maybe just apply the same logic when you come to looking to Wilson there. Matthew would like to know there, Lewis, where is DCL in your wild card?
Okay, so my this is obviously one of the sort of sacrifices I've got to make with that the wild card in front of you. So I just feel that DCL, okay, he's probably going to play through the toe injury, so I can't really use that as an excuse. But what I can say is that I don't trust Everton. I don't trust them to be consistent.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't feel, although that DCL is nicking goals, isn't he? goals every
He is.
single match. He's not stopping. I just feel that it's more of an Everton problem than a DCL problem, where I don't feel that like it's going to last that long. Stupid to say because he's in form. You know, he's in great form. He's got good fixtures. But in terms of looking at the wild card, I'm not sort of massively gutted that I haven't got DCL.
I think it's been one of the reasons that's tempted me against the wild card to some extent is because I know I'd want to try and squeeze him in, but also this kind of toe injury that we're not really sure what's going on with that as well. It's kind of made me think, you know, do I really want to kind of push for it? But you know, as you say, he's brilliant, isn't he? Keeps performing. The type of player that you could easily have now, and then when he does start not performing, you know, sell him on. Varun says Greenwood's XG is 0.83. He is overperforming. Traore is 1.4. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Harold Dutas 7. I hope I've said that right. Jimenez, Lukaku, Antonio up front wins the matrix. So that's the three that he's calling as the front three, the triple threat. Any news on Firmino's injury? I haven't seen anything. Have you, Lewis?
No. I've got a couple of friends that think it's 2 to 3 weeks and they'll be back for the Champions League. But I mean, friends, aren't they? They're not actual sources. So
yeah.
So yeah, they're Liverpool fans. They're saying 2 to 3 weeks. Not too sure if that's hope. I can't imagine it being too long because we haven't heard anything about it. I think if it was a serious one, we probably would have heard by now. But yeah, I just don't think it's going to be a sort of long-term injury. But if it is, Jota would seriously make me consider my
current setup.
Current setup, yeah.
That's fair.
It's something I forgot to mention before. Actually, I think Jota, you could probably price Jota a lot higher without Firmino there.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's worth a lot more, isn't he, in terms of the output? But yeah, he's one player that I'm thinking, you know, if Firmino is out long term, oh my, how
am I going to squeeze him in? Yeah, that's the other reason why I've held off wildcarding, because as I say, I'm going to be so tempted to do what you've done, and then I just know I can't get Jota into keep Greenwood and get Jota into that midfield. So
sure.
So yeah, absolutely. Okay, we've got will Bruno drop in price before the game week 4 deadline? He isn't currently due to drop on either of the price predictors, so for the moment you're safe. Whether or not that changes between now and the deadline, I'm not too sure, buddy. Okay, where are we? Hi, Cherie. Welcome, Focus. Dennis versus Pookie, Cherie has asked. Any thoughts on either of those, Lewis?
I actually really like Pookie for the games I had. I really like him. I don't mind Max Aarons either. He's interesting, but yeah, let's focus on Pookie. I think he's got 11 good fixtures. That could be Wolves, but he's got some great fixtures actually. With only Chelsea in the middle, so Arsenal. Not going to talk about Arsenal. Arsenal fan them. So it's Watford, Everton,
it's
Burnley.
All good, buddy. Honestly.
Yeah, so
you won't say anything I haven't heard already.
So yeah, I just don't think. I think originally I would be scared of the Arsenal, but now I wouldn't sort of necessarily be hesitant about bringing Pookie in now. Obviously, there's so many brilliant forwards elsewhere, but if you need an enabler in that price bracket up front, Pookie, after Arsenal plays Watford, Everton, Burnley, Brighton, Chelsea, but then plays Leeds, Brentford, Southampton, Wolves, and Newcastle. That's a huge run, and we can't be too harsh on Norwich. They've played Liverpool, played Leicester.
Yeah, they've had some tough fixtures.
They've played Man City. So I think you can't really give them too much in terms of negativity because I wouldn't be surprised obviously he played really well against Leicester, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously with the fixtures ahead, I think we'll start seeing Pukki score. Norwich performing ultimately better. Yeah, I like Pukki.
Yeah. No, I can't go against anything you've argued for him there. I mean, I would like to see some more consistency before kind of like jumping in, but you know, I like all the points you've made there. Savio says, any update on international break and quarantine rules? Is FIFA's rule of missing league games in effect? If so, who are likely to miss out? Seems to be a lot of kind of confusion around this, doesn't there, Lewis?
Well, I mean, last night was an example of that because
Yep.
I think it was the health authorities burst onto the pitch in an Argentina-Brazil game. So, I mean, that sort of reflects where the world is at the moment with these sort of quarantine rules and plays and stuff, because everyone's sort of disagreeing with each other. It still feels like a wait and see. But if I wasn't sure, I would potentially not start with Rafinha. I think if he does go, I mean, we don't know, do we? It's one of them, but I'm not 100% on him against Liverpool. Although I could still see him getting to just more potential in someone like Traore or maybe Sarr with their fixtures. But I think he's on a lot of people's radars in terms of not sort of knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
I think there's quite a lot of people that are safe from that. Still not too sure the Argentinian guys are playing against Chelsea. So yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Wait and see situation, I think.
Yeah, I think there's still an awful lot up in the air, buddy. And whilst we have a rough idea who have gone to these countries and what the quarantine rules are for those, things seem to be developing and changing all the time in terms of what FIFA's allowing and what FIFA isn't allowing things. So it's still very much kind of, yeah, anything could happen between now and the next game week. So I think just keep your ears peeled and your eyes peeled to Twitter, really, and hope that we get a bit of a roundup towards a bit nearer towards game week 4. Okay, so we'll just do Todd's question and we'll look to wrap it up because we've been going a little over an hour now. So so Todd says, I'm on a wild card and have DCL and Lukaku both flagged. What should I do with no playing third striker? So obviously he's gone 2 up top with DCL and Lukaku, and they're both flagged. So would this worry you, Lewis? Obviously you've got Lukaku in at the moment on your wild card who's flagged. Does this worry you at all? Would you have a contingency plan? Talk us through it.
I think the main points with Lukaku and DCL is that they're both probably the best, the game winners, the match winners for both Chelsea and Everton.
Yeah.
They've also played through both of their minor injuries for quite some time. I would probably say that they're both going to play. But I mean, we've still got press conferences to rely on, haven't we? We don't need to sort of worry too much until we get press conference. So I mean, my opinion is they both start. Definitely, probably 90% sure they both start. But let's wait until the press conferences, I think.
Yeah, and I think, unlike myself, you guys are in a much stronger position in that respect, because should you need to make any last minute changes there, you have the ability to do so and not be stuck on, on points hits or anything like that. So yes, Todd, I would say just it's tough waiting it out. Maybe make a little draft for yourself that doesn't have either of those players in, or has, one of either of those players in, just so if you get any news that one of them is definitely out, then you have a kind of backup plan that you can move to. And I'd always say having backups with wildcards is, a pretty good thing to have anyway in general. And then you can see it out, wait and get to the press conferences, see what the presses say, and go from there. So guys, I am gonna wrap it up. I am so grateful for your company today and Lewis's company as well. We will be doing this most weeks on a Monday, so anytime you want to come and chat to us, have a little deload as we call it here, and take some of that stress away, ask us some questions. We will do what we can for you guys. Lewis, where can they find you on Twitter, buddy?
Yep, so it's just at FPL Reactions. Yeah, and you'll find about 1,000 tweets a day.
Yeah, he's pretty reactionary on there, you could say.
Oh, you know.
I had to say it. Yes, please do like, sub, and share the stream out as well to anybody if you've enjoyed it. I've been Nymfria. Thank you very much. And it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from Lewis.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for joining again, and obviously we'll be doing this every single Monday, hopefully. But yeah, great stuff.
Yep. Take care, guys, and lots of green arrows in Game Week 4, and I will be back with another video either tomorrow or Wednesday on what I'm going to do specifically with my team. So I'll see you then. Bye, guys.